Engineers information. You're very familiar with them. They've been here a few times. They've helped us with a few different things. And with the posting of our vacancy or seeking a city engineer, Trilogy made it easy. They were the only ones smart enough to submit the paperwork. Maybe somebody else didn't understand it, but Mr. Underwood, you have the floor. Anything you want to share as we open it up to council for questions?
Yes, thanks everybody, and I'm glad to be here tonight. And I don't know whether we were smart enough to be the only ones to submit, or we're excited about the opportunity, though. That's for sure. So, what I want to point out, though, is that if you had a chance to read our proposal, our methodology and our approach is going to center around my coworker David Peters, who's here tonight. I just want to highlight a couple of things about his resume so that y'all understand the character of this person coming forward. David has 50 years of practicing engineering. Okay? I was 6 when he was working as an engineer. And during that time, he was the Deputy Public Works Director of the City of Houston. He was also Deputy Public Works Director for the City of Atlanta. He's also worked in the consulting industry. He's very familiar with the operations and engineering needs of a city. So the methodology we're putting in place is that I am here to represent the firm for any and all matters, but I'm going to quickly turn to David to address any issues needed. And then, in an effort to keep the cost down for a city engineer, David will parcel out any needs to the lowest qualified person in our firm in terms of the bill rate that's also in here. It's an hourly bill rate, so that you make sure you get qualified people, not overly charged people. So that's our approach and that's our methodology. We're excited to be a part of a city growing the way the city of Prairie is. I can.
Peters, Mr. Peters, why don't you come up and join us? You've been working on some of our information, and I don't want you to think you send it through and I don't read it. I've seen it a few times. Yes.
All right, question.
Yes, Councilman Jones.
Does council not feel comfortable?
No, my only question is the money. So I'm just waiting for them to present so I can talk about the money.
Oh, we'll, one of the things that Mr. Underwood and I discussed, and we've been getting together on that, as he just stated, per projects. For example, as we have a project with a developer that, say, is tied to the project, then we're going to be doing that just as we have been, running that through, and developer pays for that. And what we're looking at working out are those in-between things that the city needs that may not be directly tied to a contract, that you all can help us with in coming up with some sort of a retainer, or whatever type of thing is called in engineering, on a monthly basis to help with those kind of, maybe a phone question, or what do you guys think, and y'all take a look at this. And then if it becomes, again, tied to a project, that's easy. The other stuff, if it goes beyond that, then it'll just be billable, to the city, but working on a deeper relationship than we've had with any engineering firm in the past.
So,
Yes, sir.
So what you're saying is that we're still negotiating whether the city needs for the engineer going to be hourly or retainer. That's being negotiated.
Yeah.
So if I could just interrupt for a second. For
Yes.
engineering services, they're different than everything else in the state of Texas as far as RFP or RFQ, whatever. What you have to do is select your most qualified firm to negotiate with. And then, so you pick the firm, then you negotiate and enter into a contract.
Right.
If you don't come to a reasonable negotiation, you move down your ladder to the next person. But it is different than the rest of the procedures in Texas.
Councilman Jones, you had a question?
I move that we approve. I move that.
You need to money.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, you have the floor.
I move that we approve the mayor's appointment of Trilogy Engineering as our city engineer.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that council approve mayor's appointment of Trilogy Engineering as city engineer. You've heard the motion, ready for the discussion.
Unready, yes.
Council Randall.
So for clarification purposes, at this point, after this approval, they're gonna be receiving their funding based on the projects of the developers. And as far as, and they won't do any work that will be billed by the city until that negotiation takes place. Right or wrong?
Yeah, well, that makes sense, yeah. But we'll be,
Right, because it has to be,
Yeah.
because right now we don't have anything budgeted for the
Right.
engineer. So we couldn't pay them for city stuff. So unless it's the money that's through the pass-through system that we talked about, then and just so y'all know, you can't pay.
well, yeah, one of the things that your point brings out, and it's a good one, is that instead of back and forth on projects, on representing the city, it would be
Right.
Trilogy.
They're the
So-
they're the person we call it.
But all
that's
our
what we talk
project
about.
stuff.
So anytime we call
Yeah.
a project, but, you know, we won't be paying for that. That's until, you know, the project pays for that.
Right.
Well, we will, but that's part of, said, so right now, my understanding of this motion is to approve our point of contact as the City of Prairie engineer is Trilogy Engineering Group. But the unreadiness that I thought we were gonna, well, I guess this is the time to talk about it. JJ, do we have any money that we can allocate or need to be repositioned?
Yes.
Because we want to do that, whether it be, it doesn't have to be simultaneously, but that needs to come next.
Yeah, right.
And then the second thing is that we have to clearly identify how we're doing this pay for service from the developer, because without clearly delineated, if we're only taking in $1, but it costs us $1.50, then that means we're gonna be over. And so we done on our paperwork, that connection doesn't connect. Because they are also a consultant, we clearly also, they will also help us to identify what we need, because they have worked on projects before, and we also want to make sure that there is no conflict. And so we need to clearly identify kind of moving forward, but I want to just be clear with this motion, this is to make Trilogy Engineering Services the City of Prairie View's engineer only.
If I might recommend a bit of a change in that motion, is that you would recommend that the city choose Trilogy Engineering as the engineer to enter into negotiations for a contract with. Because until you know that you have the right price, you haven't appointed them. Is that typically how you,
That's typically the way it's done.
yeah, so,
No, I withdraw my motion, and then I say what you said.
so you got-
What she said. So for the sake of the meetings, the minutes for the next,
Well, hold on, we have a motion on the floor.
well, we technically don't.
Well, it's been
You
moved
can't-
and
I'm just
seconded.
making
it
sure.
hasn't been seconded.
Now,
No,
but
it's
it hasn't,
seconds.
it can't be done like that.
So can we pass
You
the
got a
motion?
second?
Ms. Johnson, could we trust you to get with our attorney, so that way you can get the proper,
That's what I'm trying to make sure before we pass the motion, that she has it, because it can't say, I move what she said on the minutes.
Okay. Welcome aboard.
Yeah, thank you.
But you withdrew the motion and you said there is no motion. What am I carrying?
No, I made the motion.
He made the motion to, that's what she said, but I was.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Let the record show, is it unanimous? Any disconsent? Unanimous. Item 13.
Were we gonna,
Oh, she's going down.
did we get, are we gonna spend the budget, wasn't that in the unreadiness we were talking about?
Well, we have to negotiate and bring it back.
Bring it back.
Yeah,
That's why it has.
yeah, do have to do a budget amendment, so, because we're moving funds. We got it. Item 13, discuss, consider, and take action on designating an area for July 4th fireworks. Councilmember Jones, what you got, man?
I heard some of our citizens, and Ms. Carter, talk about how altered this, the popping of firecrackers and things of that such kind of, disturbs their peace. So I want to bring it to council attention and try to see if we can designate an area, even if it's on the side of City Hall, as the place for people to pop firecrackers on July 4th.
Good point. Counselor, I'm not sure about Waller County's position on fireworks and
Designated
what
by zoning.
we can,
It's designated by zoning, you can pop fireworks, depends on how your community zone.
okay, so what I would like to do, if Councilman Jones doesn't mind, is touch base with our fire department, because they would really know about that kind of thing, and see if we have an area, like you said, next to City Hall or something, and that they would, be around to monitor it, but also they would know if there's some issue in Waller County or state laws that we need to be concerned about. That'd be appropriate?
But I think you also have to take in consideration, it's a little different, because like Hempstead has a major fireworks display just like Walton does. So their area at the park would be different from what we're trying to do. So basically, we're trying to find a space where just different random people can come and pop their firecrackers.
Even, well, from how it was approached to me, even some of our citizens have younger kids, and so when they pop firecrackers, a lot of things can happen with you popping a firecracker in your, like, residential neighborhood. But, I do what the mayor told me to do, talk to the fire chief and see if we could go in the direction of hosting our own July 4th fireworks display, so that way our communities feel safe. It's kind of like a party thing.
So, I think I just want to say, I think it's a great idea. Even if it's not this year, I think we can start looking at maybe having just like a city celebration where we may not have a firework display, but we have a celebration where we can do things and have music where people can come and pop fireworks. That may be something to look into for the future, even if we can't do it this year, but I think it's a great idea.
So you do have an ordinance on the books regarding the fireworks and what's allowed, and I've not looked at it, I'm just looking to see that you have one. So your fire department certainly could tell you what is allowed and what isn't. Sometimes if you have areas like that, they only allow licensed pyrotechnics to do that, not everybody. So depending on what exactly your ordinance reads, and your fire department should know, they should be able to
Sounds
help.
good. So Councilman Jones will check into that and we'll go forward either, not now, whenever, but again, once we get the information. Item 14, discuss, consider, and take action on July 9th workshop with USW. Councilman Jones.
I had left the charge to Councilmember Rowland, and he did that through email, and it was agreed that July 9th would be the best day at 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
So I moved that we have a workshop with USW July 9th at 6 p.m.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded that the city have a workshop with USW on July 9th at 6 p.m. You've heard the motion, ready for the questions?
Question.
Yes.
Council, thank you for helping me with that. July 9th, the COO or Vice President for Business Services will be also here to answer any questions. Council, I have with you the operations update for USW, and you also in your packet have the service agreement, so you can have all the subsequent questions that you'll need for that particular meeting. Thank you.
And if I might, their current agreement under which they're working will expire prior to that time, so I believe maybe the first meeting in July, just before that, will bring you just a short extension period while you consider the full contract. I think it expires the 8th, right?
Is it not enough?
All those in favor say aye. Opposed have the same right. Ayes have it. Item 15, discuss and take action on having a city council retreat. Councilmember Wallace.
I've been in discussion with Attorney Zach about city council retreat, and he's gonna give me back some information from someone. He said that for city council retreat, it's good to do a third party, just to help regulate everything. So once I get the information back, I'll bring it back to council. I'm not gonna ask to be on the next meeting until I get the information out. Then once I get it, I'll send an email to our new city secretary, Ms. Bynum, to put on the agenda.
Great, thank you. City council reports. Councilman Rowland.
Citizens who are here, again, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to serve. I won't go into all the things that were said, but again, we meet here on the first and third Wednesdays. Boy Scouts, we just had a weekend camping at Huntsville State Park. Awesome experience as we are guiding these young men in our community. Also had the opportunity to come participate in the city of Prairie. We had a Saturday from 11 to about 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock. Great knowledge and information from our attorney, Zach. I also represented the city of Prairie View in Austin at TML, where I will be emailing to city council because it's like 200 pages of documents if we printed it. They went through a budget recap like we had the last week, kind of giving us some updates, and I met with the executive director of the Treasurers Association, and I've already given that information to Ms. Johnson. Thank y'all for allowing me to serve.
Councilman Randall.
Good evening. I also attended the workshop on Saturday, and had the opportunity to stop by the 50th celebration. I thought it was a phenomenal event. I couldn't stay the entire time because I had to go and finish up the logistical plans for what I'm going to talk about next, which is Hustle Sports Football Camp. Saturday, 9 o'clock, Waller High School. If you have or know any young football players between the ages of 5 and 13, please register them at hustlesportstexas.com. And it's a free camp. This year we're doing things differently. We're going to give out some school supplies. We have the fire department coming out. You know, we're going to let them play on the truck. So it's more than about football. But football was the platform that took us to different places in life. So we're using that as a motive to give back to our community. So come out and support. Even if you don't have kids and you want to come on out and just kind of support the kids. Thank you.
Councilman Jones.
I also had the privilege of going to the 50th year celebration. I see Ms. Fowler's just here sitting with us. Also got a chance to participate with Councilman Bill Wallace in the community cleanup and looking at some of the abandoned lots and trash around the city. Also got a chance to go to Commissioner's Court, still working on them with the interlocal agreement and the bridge. Also went to a meeting with the university, talking about the community university. I heard there was things mentioned earlier doing citizen comments about having somewhere for the youth and also senior activities. Then they'll have a beautiful county community center. Working on getting some logistics because apparently when the building was first established, there were certain things that were provided in the contract, and so looking over that to see how we could possibly use something that's in our city for greater good, and it's always a blessing and a great opportunity to serve. And I also got a chance to meet with Dr. Norwood, Mr. Norwood, at the university doing a cost analysis, so I'll be bringing some things back and forth.
Councilman Williams. Councilman Wallace.
Good evening, everyone. Quickly, we had the ordinance drafted for the community engagement board, so I'm going to ask that we put it on the next city council meeting. Me and Randall have been working diligently on it, and so we're going to want to talk about that at the next council meeting in depth, so citizens can know another opportunity for them to get involved. As well, I've been working with the Prairie Chamber of Commerce, continue to try to help support the local businesses within the city. So if you have the opportunity to come to the Prairie Chamber of Commerce meeting, it's the fourth Thursday. Last Thursday?
Last Thursday.
Yeah, last Thursday of every month. So come, please be a part. If you don't have a business, still try to come help and support. Also, I was with Councilmember Jones as we did community cleanup with the lovely Ms. Wallace back there. So continue, just want to make sure that we're engaged in our community. And lastly, I was also with Councilman Jones whenever we were in the community university meeting, just finding ways to bring the university and the community together so that we can move this great city forward. And it is a pleasure, and I'm humbled to serve in this great city.
The H.T. Jones Elementary School principal, Ms. Carol Bates, has been the principal for 18 years and done an incredible job. and we presented a proclamation on behalf of the city at First United Methodist's program 2 Sundays ago. The City of PV Economic Development Corporation 4B is really, really moving. I encourage you to attend their meetings because they're really talking about doing some great things to assist the city. Met with Congressman Mike McCall. The Highway 290 service roads that you've heard are sorely needed, really working with, and he's just been a great supporter. We met in my office, I don't know, about 6 months ago, and we're just picking up on that. The TCEQ East Texas precast that was mentioned in the minutes, in citizen comments and on agenda, they have installed a water sprinkler system and have a sweet streaker that has been dusting the chemicals and improved over there. The Union Pacific Railroad agreement, I want to thank Councilor Sarah Griffin for her assistance with that and the EDA project, the last few final documents. We know from EDA what we need now, and that's moving, so it should happen any day now. Met with, even on, we were closed Juneteenth. No one told me. So I had 2 appointments with some people and was up here, was wondering where's everybody else's cars at. But again, just other folks looking to come into the city, and that was their time to come, so made it a point of being there. The Community's 50th Anniversary Committee event, and attended those meetings, but the event was just absolutely great, just truly a real community event. The history that was shared by grandchildren of the original 14 farming families and others who were here even before them was just simply phenomenal. Met with and interviewed Miss Allison Bynum, but now that y'all know her, I'll skip that part because she's part of the team now, so welcome, Miss Bynum. The H.T. Jones Elementary Committee meeting at the school with the new principal, Miss Kinney. So we're looking forward to her picking up with where Miss Bates left off. And working with San Bernard, they're cutting trees around the city, and again, we're just blessed, but making sure they put the attention that we need around here to keep those extra trees off our wires and things of that nature. And with that, I'll just cut the report, and again, just continuing to do what we need to do to make the city better every time we can. Anything else prior to closing?
I move that we adjourn.
I have two items.
Go.
I want to, on the next agenda, discuss and consider a contractor registration form and an ordinance. So contractors who do HVAC, mechanical, plumbing, we'd have to have a registration on file. The second is discuss and consider a tree ordinance.
A tree preservation ordinance?
Yep. And then the third is to discuss and review our financial statements, general fund accounts, to include income statement and accounts for USW and the legal fees.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that the items referenced by Councilman Rowland be placed on the next agenda. You've heard the motion. Ready for questions?
Questions?
All those.
Mine ready. Do we have to put those, I could just say general fund, I don't have to say specifically those two, right? So we talk about anything on the income statement.
So,
right now, we got the report. We have not talked about it. So on the next agenda item, I want to be able to talk about the general funds account and the income statement, which consists of everything in the city. Everything that's on the income statement. Do I need to highlight any more specific, a specific line item, or can I talk about the whole, can we discuss and review the whole income statement?
so is the income statement something that's specifically given to you and dated?
Yes.
Or can you identify it more for the agenda? And you don't have to do it this second, but for the agenda, if we can specifically identify exactly what you're
JJ,
talking
can you
about.
tell her the date?
April 2019 and May 2019.
Yep.
That work?
Yes, that works. The income statement for April 2019 and May 2019. That's
Okay.
correct.
Call for the question.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I think that. Ayes have it.
You should identify what line item, because